Previously on Divorce Court.
My fiance has an insane, out-of-control driving habit that is essentially ruining our lives. I've come to get a lie detector test result for her because I think she might be cheating on me. And if she has been, I'm out of here.
He calls it an out-of-control habit. I call it a healthy obsession.
It sounds like you are compulsively obsessed with being behind the wheel of a car.
Because there's nothing greater.
Yes, there is! Child, I would rather have somebody drive me. I am Miss Daisy, drive me, I'm fine. But what I'm saying to you is anything that you do to excess becomes a problem.
Your Honor, I've tried to tell him that I felt like it was becoming a problem, and he brushed it off every time. And I just don't understand, because when we're driving around, you don't have a problem with it.
That's true, I don't. What I have a problem with, Your Honor, is when she disappears for hours at a time, and I have no idea where she is.
So why is it that you all are not managing each other's expectations about what role you play in the relationship? Mr. Stefanik, are you looking for Miss Lybrand to play a specific role? I want to be clear on what your expectation is.
Well, I've been hurt. I've been out of like physical work. I've given up on physical work. I have some intense injuries that
I can understand that.
We have been living off of my money for a while, and I know it's not going to last forever. But I put myself into college. I'm in school right now. I'm in a writing program in Florida, and that's something that I've been wanting to do my entire life. And we drive back and forth from Orlando to Brooksville, and it's like an hour and a half each way.
Exactly. You have your school, you have your music. He plays the bass, he's a musician, he's an artist. Driving is the only thing I have. That is my art. I'm no Grant Hafner, but the road is my art. I'm very proud of all the cars I've owned. These are cars that I've literally brought back to life and driven for years on end.
And are you able to afford this passion?
I was up until a while ago. He lives off his money. I've always worked, okay? I've never asked for money except for this last thing when he's told me, let's take a break and we'll go down to Florida, da-da-da. But other than that...
No, but that's been a while now. How long have y'all been living in Florida?
Just 6 months.
Yeah, about 8 months.
So that's a pretty good stretch of not...
So you have not... So you, up until 6 months, you made your own money?
I've always made my own money, yes. I was the one who bought the cars, registered, insured them. I take care of these things like mechanical animals. I'm up underneath the hood, up underneath the car, up underneath the wheels.
I can tell.
I do the 34-point inspection every day because when you drive an old car, it's necessary to take care of it like it's an old dog.
So, Mr. Stefanik, what happened 6 months ago when you all moved to Florida? Did you, again, I'm going to go back to managing expectations. Did you all talk about the change and what your family dynamic would be?
Honestly, no.
I know.
Like, I'm really thinking about it, and like I have to take a little of the responsibility here because we kind of treated the first couple months like an extended honeymoon, if you will. Like, and just kind of partied in Orlando for a while.
And then about month 3, it started to sink in, ooh, I'm blowing a bunch of money up in here.
Yeah.
And if I don't pay attention, we're going to run out of this windfall.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. Did you all have that kind of conversation?
I had that conversation way before we even left. I told him not even to go until he had a steady plan. But his family had projections of what they thought would be best. And so, you know how we do for our families. We love our parents, we love our kids, and this and that. And so we try to do the things that will make them feel good about our decision.
And then that's what made you all move to Florida?
Yes.
You know, I knew some of the issues. I didn't know them all, but I really wanted some help to advise the two of you. And so I asked one of our experts who joins us on occasion to do an evaluation based on some of the testimony that we've received. Will you please ask the witness to join us, Corey?
Sure thing.
Hello.
Hi.
The court has asked for an expert witness. Will you please state your name and your background for the court?
Melanie Preston, licensed professional counselor, mental health counselor here in the state of Georgia. I've been doing this for 15 years, where I specialize with couples, and I help couples to reestablish, restructure their relationships. A lot of these couples have trust issues, trauma, different types of family backgrounds that they come from, and we deal with those things.
You actually dig a little deeper than the surface.
Yes.
That's why I wanted you to join us, Ms. Preston. Mr. Stefanik, Ms. Lybrand, I wanted Ms. Preston to listen to some of the testimony so that she could give a little bit of an assessment of what's going on in your relationship. And Ms. Preston, have you had an opportunity to do an evaluation?
I have.
So can you share that with the court, please?
What I really found with this couple is it does seem that there are particular addictive behaviors. I do not believe that it's enough to qualify off at this point as an addiction. It does seem that there may be some underlying challenges, which we would have to dig a little further into to determine what the cause of the behavior is. It does seem that this is a substitute for something maybe that she's lacking. In the case notes, she talked a lot about control. And so I wonder if maybe there is a lack of control in other pieces or parts of the relationship. And maybe cars or having power or authority over the cars is where she finds that control.
Ms. Lybrand?
Cars don't hurt you. They don't lie to you. They're just out there ready for you. They put the songs that you want to hear on. They go where you want to go. You know.
You do realize that you have just stated the definition of a lack of control. You did. You found something that you can control that's going to be there for you when you need it to be there for you. And you don't have to seek anything else.
Until I met Scott. And then I realized that the affection that I'm putting on something that's not alive is not where my affection should go. And so I've been trying to tell him, I've been trying to show him that you are more important to me than any road or any car. And to even imagine that I could be with somebody else beside you pains me. I've chosen you over the road, over 8 generations of my family, over the racetrack, over the highway, over the fast cars, the slow cars. And that's not enough. I've been the one here for 10 years.
Mr. Stefanik, do you hear what Ms. Lybrand is saying?
I do, yes.
She just admitted that she doesn't even believe that it's as serious as it is to begin with.
I'm offering you help. Do you want it or not?
I'm good.
Do you know many people who have had drug addiction, alcohol addiction, have sat in that same spot and just said, I'm good? But the ones that recognize I'm not as good as I can be, those are the people that grow. Ms. Preston, listening to what Ms. Lybrand just said, can Mr. Stefanik and Ms. Lybrand find common ground?
I believe they can. It would take some additional work. There are some underlying issues, some underlying pain points that would definitely need to be addressed. But it does seem that if they're willing to address those things, there's a possibility that the relationship can survive and thrive.
No disrespect, but she just admitted that she doesn't even believe that it's as serious as it is to begin with.
No,
either.
she said that it's not an addiction, but it's addictive behaviors. And I think even you would admit that these kinds of behaviors are not healthy for you. Something that you repeat again and again because you're just getting satisfaction out of it can be a passion and it can be fun. But if it's causing you a pain point, which you've described, okay, then you have to determine whether or not it's worth it. And you're the one who just said you've chosen him over the road. Right. So I know a little something about addictive behavior. Mine was food for many, many years. But the food was a symptom, but the behaviors were what was triggering it. What was wrong? What was making me depressed? What was making me seek comfort in whatever that substance was? At the core of any addictive type behavior is something is driving you to be obsessed with that.
He knows I've had a Cinderella life growing up. My parents were a little overprotective. And so when I was able to get my license and able to get out on the road, I was gone. And I never wanted to be in the house again.
Control.
And
Control.
you can't spell Cinderella without Danielle.
Control. Mr. Stefanik,
Yes,
this requires work.
it does.
And I know that we have another element of this case because you wanted a polygraph examination, but
No, that's the best
I
part.
do want to know, Ms. Lybrand, do you admit that you could use some assistance in trying to figure out what's going on?
No, I'm straight. I'm perfectly fine.
Really?
Well, I mean, I'm able to hold down a job. I do for my kids and my family.
Nope, I'm talking about how you feel. Only about how you feel. I'm not talking
I feel
about...
great, except for now that I've lost my car. I feel like I can't even breathe. But when I'm driving, everything's fine. Everything else I can figure out.
And you don't feel the need to help move your relationship with yourself.
With cars? Oh, with myself?
With yourself to another level. You don't feel the need for that?
As long as I can keep it in check, I have a goal to get to 100 cars. I'm going to own 100 cars. I'm sorry.
I think you
It's
need
just
some
how it
help,
has to
man.
be. It's just what it's going to be. And you don't care either way. You were pushing to start just like I was pushing to
Ms.
start.
Lybrand, Mr. Stefanik cares, and he has said to you that he will be supportive of you, but you need to acknowledge that you might need some help. And
He's got
Ms.
a funny
Preston,
way of showing it.
Yes.
I was going to ask you if you'd be willing to help, but the first sign is somebody must acknowledge it.
Right.
There's no reason for the court to offer help if you are not acknowledging that you need help.
We've grown up two different ways. I've been taught to be fiercely independent to the point where, like, you know, I remember my mom saw me on the side of the road once and she was like, I hope you get it together. And, you know, because it's important to take care of
Ms.
yourself.
Lybrand,
And
I'm offering you help. Do you want it or not?
I'm good.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Really?
Do you know how many people who have had gambling addictions, drug addiction, alcohol
Yes.
addiction have sat in that same spot and just said, I'm good? But the ones that recognize I'm not as good as I can be, those are the people that grow. So I'm offering you the ability to grow, but I will not push you into that. But understand there are ramifications to your choices.
But I mean, what's the point if no matter what I do, he still never trusts me and he still is constantly throwing
If
us?
you don't take this help, I can't keep doing this. It's getting to be too much.
Doing what, chilling in the passenger seat while I do all the work?
Ms. Preston, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Corey, please escort the witness out.
Sure thing.
It's an addiction. for
Exactly,
alcohol.
so why don't you take it seriously when I'm asking you for help?
He's even asked me to make you submit to a polygraph examination, which you did. Have you had any sexual contact with anyone he is not aware of?
The polygraph examination results indicated
You have a much bigger issue. A much bigger issue. Ms. Lybrand, you are without question obsessed with cars. No question whatsoever. And it might be okay with you, but something tells me it's not okay with Mr. Stefanik.
It's been 10 years and I love her to death, but it's an addiction like any other, like drugs or gambling. or
Exactly,
alcohol.
so why don't you take it seriously when I'm asking you for help?
I try. I'm not a professional like these people are.
Mr. Stefanik, Ms. Lybrand said when I'm asking you for help, she's talking about helping with the car. She's not
No,
helping with
I'm
her.
talking about. No, I'm talking about when I come to him and I tell him I feel like driving around, even though it's 12:45 in the middle of the night.
That is why we
and I'm
offered you some
asking him-
assistance.
Exactly.
Mr. Stefanik is a good man and a nice man and a kind man and a
But he's the
sensitive
one
man.
whose affection I
But
want.
guess what? He's not a professional. He can't help you, and he has said that in more ways than one. He's even asked me to make you submit to a polygraph examination, which you did. Which, by the way, would you like to know the answers?
I would.
I would like the second expert to join us today.
All right.
This is the battle of the experts.
Sir.
Good day, Your Honor.
Good day, Mr. Yarborough. Please introduce yourself to the court for the record.
Certainly. My name is John Yarborough. I'm a certified polygraph examiner, also a member of the American Polygraph Association. And I have performed hundreds of polygraphs for law enforcement and other public safety agencies, as well as professional and private polygraphs.
I asked you to perform a polygraph examination to Ms. Lybrand, who willingly submitted. Am I correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
I wanted you to put 3 questions to her. And the first question was, Ms. Lybrand, did you have any sexual contact with that elderly man that discussed buying a car?
That is correct.
What was Ms. Lybrand's answer?
She answered no.
What did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated there was no deception indicated to her
So
question.
you can put that to rest. Mr. Yarborough, we also asked Ms. Lybrand, did you have any sexual contact with a man who sent you messages on social media?
That is correct.
What was Ms. Lybrand's answer?
She answered no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated there was no deception indicated to that question.
She told the truth again.
Clap for yourself.
And Mr. Stefanik wanted to put all of his suspicions to rest, so we asked Ms. Lybrand a third question. Since starting a relationship with Mr. Stefanik, have you had any sexual contact with anyone he is not aware of?
That is correct, Your Honor.
What was Ms. Lybrand's answer?
She answered no.
And what did the test results indicate?
The polygraph examination results indicated there was no deception indicated to that question either.
Thank you, Mr. Yarborough. I think you put some suspicions completely to rest today.
I hope so. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Yarborough.
This definitely takes a load off. I feel a lot better about that.
So you might want to apologize to Ms. Lybrand for doubting her fidelity.
I am very sorry, Dan.
I have done nothing but prove myself, wait for you, show you things.
I know that.
I'm gonna sit here and keep waiting for you. But this is the reason why these other things are happening, because you're constantly, you just don't want to change gears. You know,
Mr. Stefanik, Ms. Lybrand, I believe that the polygraph examination has put some of your fears to rest.
Yes.
So you can breathe easier in that regard. But you
see
all
he
have
didn't
a
have to
much,
take one,
excuse
though.
me, Ms.
Sorry.
Lybrand, you have a much bigger issue. A much bigger issue. Your suspicions may not have been warranted, but there is no question that there's a disconnect here, and it will not be connected without professional assistance. I'm sorry, Ms. Lybrand. It will not be corrected without professional assistance. And you can continue down this path. You can have as much fun and cover up what is really hurting you as you want to, but it's not going to be good for a long-term relationship. And Mr. Stefanik, you have to make a determination. Is this what you want for your life? Because this is where we are unless there's some real help. I can tell you from personal experience, if there is something underneath the covers, until you expose it to the sunlight, it will fester. If it don't come out in the wash, it will come out in the rinse. Make a decision. Is this what you want in the long run or not? That's on you, Mr. Stefanik. That's my verdict.
you're gonna have them send me to rehab like I'm some kind of maniac? You were gonna try to send me to rehab?
No, these are.
You can stay in the right lane from now on.
That can help you just get a little bit better, like.
Do you know if you take Alice in Wonderland and rearrange the letters, it's Danielle down in the car? You know if you take Cinderella's coach and rearrange the letters, it says, oh, see Danielle's car, see? I'm meant to be. All I can tell you, that's all I can tell you.
Made in Georgia.